Okay. Corona and lockdown. Corona and lockdown have affected us all.
On both a business and personal level.
We are all feeling worried, lost, and frustrated.
There is very little we can control at the moment.
But we want you to know that Professional Beauty
and Salon International are here for you.
We do webinars, articles, and seminars
to help you get through these tough times.
Our business is at the heart of the industry.
We are in this together.
We will recover.
And we will come back stronger than before.
Impossible. It's not possible. We will not be able to do it. Yeah, we will not be able to do it in one day.
Okay, good. Technical hitch there with the video. Welcome to this wonderful webinar. Obviously, last night we had some sort of good news. Government's teasing us a little bit though. They're letting us open, but they won't say when. So they're obviously just delaying things and I don't know, playing around with this a bit, I think. But today we're going to be talking about getting ready for whenever we do open. And we've got some people from SAAHSP to tell us about a new application that they've launched. And so I'd like to, a bit of housekeeping first. Do please use the chat to say hello to us. But if you have any questions, do use the Q&A, which is, you'll see the tab at the bottom of your screen. Put your questions there, because if you put them in the chat, they tend to get lost. But do say hello. I can see there's people saying hello already. Plettenberg Bay, wow, we're going far nowadays. Fantastic. I hope the weather's warmer in Plet now. So lots and lots of people saying hello. Do always use the drop down though that says all panelists and attendees, as opposed to just all panelists, because there we go, that's much better. Wonderful. And the Q&A, as I say, to ask us any questions. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Ansa Brockhurst. There we go. Okay. And Tanya. Hello, Tanya. Both ladies are from SAAHSP. And then we have Shahid Aref from ESS, who are the people that developed the app with SAAHSP. So, welcome. Shahid, we can't quite see you. Yes, we can now. There we go. Look at that. It must be quite warm where you are, Shahid, because you're not wearing fleeces or anything else. And your microphone is on mute. Just to.
It's warm. How's it, everybody?
There we go. So over to you, Tanya, maybe.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Some good news last night, we think. So we're going in a direction, at least it's not south. We are definitely going in, moving forward. Before we start, on behalf of SAAHSP, I'd like to thank everyone in the industry, from the smallest companies, consultants, anyone who actually even hosted a webinar. Phil, a special shout out to you and Pro Beauty. I think you have honestly led the way with regards to being informative, educational, motivational. You've definitely mastered the tool of mass communication with all the new technology. Natasha, good job. In saying that, every little webinar counted and positively and collectively impacted our industry to try to prepare us for something that we had no idea what to do with. If there's one thing I think we've realized is that our industry has passion, and lots of it. We have a passion to serve clients and guests with our field of expertise. And even though this has been the most horrendous time for most of the industry, if not all of the industry, we are going back in a short time, and there will be some more challenges. But I think if we could have survived the last 3 months, knowing what is ahead of us and all the tools that have been provided, I think we're in a good standing compared to what we were maybe last year. I do think that the industry knows what basics to apply. There's been so many organizations, consultants, people that have put out their SOPs and guidelines. And from SAAHSP, we want to suggest that you take a little piece of everything, of all the SOPs, and you put it together and you activate it in your business so that it suits your business. It must work for you. We can agree that government, it was a bit disappointing that there was no sort of relief fund issued for our industry. And we know that the industry is diverse, and we know that there's more problem areas and more good areas, and we can talk about that for days. But for what it's worth, the government has listened to our pleas, and they have felt the pressure, and they now understand that we're still a level 1 high risk industry. That's what they regarded us a few weeks ago. But they have more confidence in us, in that we can actually work in a safe and create a safe environment for our employees and for our clients. We are going to go back soon, and it's more crucial now than ever before to prove that we can do this safely and that we are going to be compliant, and it is everything that law and government requires. We understand that there's an informal sector as well that government is probably worried about and concerned about. It's like a little monster in the cupboard that's been hiding, so to speak. But they play a very, very important role because they too represent our industry when we open. SAAHSP has worked on a very user-friendly SOP and guideline for the informal sector, and we will be releasing that shortly. And we've been working behind the scenes. We've had a few webinars, nothing like you, Phil, at all. But we were behind the scenes trying to find solutions for everyone. And through research, we've come up, we got hold of ESS Holdings, and I'll explain to you who they are. And we designed a program, a business compliance program, from Mauritius, that's awesome, that is applicable to your business. You can manage your business and your compliance from anywhere in your world, anywhere in the world. And this is a guideline and a tool to empower your business to become legally compliant 100%. So Shahid will be talking after me, and it's not to be confused with protocols. And he will tell you it's more than sanitization and sterilization and masks, especially because we've been regarded as a high-risk industry. I think COVID-19 will come and go. Our protocols right now are around COVID-19 and trying to manage the COVID-19 pandemic in our business places. COVID will come and go, but government's law, legislation, regulations, they're going to stay. And this tool, this program that SAAHSP is launching today is something that will help you manage your business with regards to all the legal compliance issues. And it is an education in process. It's definitely for our industry. It's a web-based program, so very user-friendly. You can, from a tablet, from your phone, from your computer, and it gives you access to all the COVID-related information and documentation, all the COVID-related response systems and templates that you require. And it teaches you how to manage it, the risk assessment in your business that's unique to your business. How do you do that? Incident reports. It includes SAAHSP SOPs, but it also includes space for you to load your SOPs and your training schedules for your staff. And it also, most importantly, offers free accredited courses for yourself as a business owner or your team or your manager. So Shahid is on the panel with us. Shahid Arif he's the director of ESS Holdings. They work both locally and internationally with small, medium, large, and listed companies. So this is not their first rodeo, as they would say. They have definitely mastered this. And he's here to guide us and give us facts and information of how our industry can benefit from this program and the consequences of not having risk assessments or a risk management process on health and safety in place. So I'm going to hand over to Shahid, if you can take it from here and speak to the people on the webinar. Thank you, Shahid.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Okay. Let's get cracking, right? I'm a man of few words. However, I speak little but in volumes. If you can understand what I'm going to try and say. First of all, let's understand where we're coming from and where the beauty industry is coming from, right? COVID-19 has changed the world. We know that it's going to happen. It has happened. And this change is going to be staying with us for a long time. The one thing it has done, it has opened up the industry's eyes and the world's eyes to a lot of risks that we have faced unknowingly, and we tended as people to have ignored it. Employers have ignored it, governments have ignored it, everyone has ignored it. What COVID-19 has done is it opened our eyes to those risks, and that is basic human safety. All right. When we talk of basic human safety, there's been laws for safety from World War II's days, right? But employers have sort of put it on the back front, and we always thought that safety is only the responsibility of the major corporates in the organization. And that's because the major corporates are the ones that employ massive volumes of people, and they're the ones that have the most impact. Unbeknown to us, that impact is not from the big employers. We have failed to understand that as an SME or any SME in industry, you have an impact because you employ a number of people, even though you a company of 5 people or 4 people. But take all the SMEs collectively, like the beauty industry. We've got 700 panelists here, so attendees, currently showing 300 beauty salons employing 2 people each. Do the math. 600 employees. So the beauty industry is equivalent to a small SAAHSP plant, for example. All right. And that is what we need to understand. It's the impact is in the collectivity of the numbers. So the impact we have as a small beauty salon in the safety of the world globally, you might seem or look at yourself as small. It is not small because it's a chain effect, it's a domino effect. All right. Now, with that said, when we look at health and safety and legislation, every employer, the minute you employ someone and pay them even 1 cent for services, you're deemed an employer per legislation. Any government, any country legislation, you're deemed an employer. And as an employer, you have a legal right to ensure the safety of your people. We have thought it's only applicable, again, like I said, to the big companies, not necessarily. And no, not. It's applicable to everybody. So with legal requirements, whether you pay your taxes for your people, whether you pay your taxes for your company, you also have to make sure that your people work safe, because if your employee gets injured, who's going to pay for the hospital bills? Where's that money going to come from? And if you have not had a health and safety system in place in your small little salon, do you think government COID is going to pay out for that? No, folks. No. Here's the reality of the picture. COID, which is a Company Occupational Injury Diseases Act, will only pay out on an employer that has met the mandatory legal requirements for health and safety in the industry. And if you have not met that, you're deemed a non-compliant employer. And if you're deemed a non-compliant employer, The long and the short of it is you're responsible, liably, legal. You're going to pay that bill, the medical bills for your employee for life, because they can sue you. And believe me, it has happened. If you look at the way the current trend in South Africa is going, people are hungry for money. And with being hungry for money, lawyers want to make money. So they're going to find any scapegoat to take the employer to task. So the employee now, because he got injured in the beauty salon, right? I'm not scaring folks, please. I'm painting a reality picture here. If your employee got injured and they cannot work anymore, or they scarred or something for life, and in the beauty industry, a scar goes a long way, right? And if they scarred, they're going to look for every reason now to get money from you as an employer. And if you did not have the basic health and safety requirements in place, you're going to be liable to pay that person compensation out of your pocket. Can you afford that? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. Now comes the insurance part. Where does this insurance come from? Where does assistance and the protection for me as an employer, as a beauty salon owner come from? That's your legal compliance. That's your insurance policy. So someone asked about the cost. Early on, I seen popping up onto groups, what's the cost of this? It's not about the cost. Come ask you this question before I go into any much more detail. How much would you pay for insurance for your home? 3,000 Rand, 4,000 Rand for home insurance? 5,000 for home insurance? For what? To the value of your home? Yeah, rightfully said from Hajni about liability insurance. Liability insurance, Hajni, will not cover this. Liability insurance doesn't cover compensation if you are not compliant. That's the first thing. So you would pay for your house insurance, to get back to my example, you would pay for your house insurance 1,000 Rand or 2,000 Rand to the value of your house of 1.5 million Rand. So if your house is burned down or something, the insurance would pay out your 1.5 million Rand. Correct? There is no cost that I'm coming to, and I'm saying there's no cost that can be attached to human life. There's insurance policy we can take out years to cover it. But liability insurance, as someone rightfully said there, would not cover you if you are not compliant. It's there to a certain point. Even insurance companies look for loopholes as not to pay. Okay. So with that said, let's talk about the current situation. The beauty industry has been pushing to open up the environment, and you've been pushing the necessary authorities to get back to work because we need to generate an income. Correct. What legislation has done and what government has done, especially COGTA, folks, is they've changed legislation. Now on the 4th of June, legislation has changed. And there's a regulation in legislation that states, and I'm going to read the regulation for you. Section 17, Plan for Reopening Workplaces, promulgated on the 4th of June, 2020. As and when any regulations made in terms of Section 27 of the Disaster Management Act permits industries, business, entities, private and public, to commence operating, every employer will undertake a risk assessment on the basis of that risk assessment, develop a plan outlining the protective measures in place for the phased return of the employees. Consult on the risk assessment and the plan with your relevant trade unions and in conjunction with the Labor Relations Act and the Occupational Health and Safety Committee in terms of Section 19, and in the absence of that Health and Safety Committee, in conjunction with the Health and Safety Representative in terms of Section 17. You will make the plan available for inspection by an inspector or any person contemplated in Section 17.3. You will have the plan available in your workplace during open hours, a list of your employees returning to work, identify the vulnerability of your employees, minimize the number of workers at the workplace, and you will also identify the workplace protective measures taken to mitigate and control COVID-19 and to make sure your COVID-19 readiness is in place. Folks, I've just brought you one section of the Act. The new Act has got close to about more than 20 regulations that we need to comply to. Okay, and in the beauty industry, now I'm going to tell you my background. Someone will ask, where do I come from? Okay, I was introduced from ESS Holdings in terms of Tanya introduced me and Phil introduced me as well. But background, since the time the COVID-19 has hit South Africa, right, we've had I would say the blessings to assist one of the major multinational corporations in South Africa with COVID-19 and with regulations. And believe me, I can tell you, having the war scars on me, it's not a joke. What legislation and what department is doing in terms of with this multinational, second biggest employer in South Africa, mind you, but they were shutting them down every second day in terms of their stores, because it's a retail store, FMCG. And every second day we've had to help to reopen the stores. And who are shutting them down? Labor, police force, JMPD officials, municipal officials, walking into the stores and asking them to see their compliance. What compliance do they want to see? Compliance to COVID regulations, compliance to occupational health and safety regulations. If they didn't comply, they had no hesitations in issuing Section 54s and Section 40s to shut them down. Close the stores. We then had to go and provide them and show them that there's a risk assessment that was done, there's a workplace plan, there's a policies all in place, and they then reopened. Okay, it is not, as Tanya said, and I'm going to reiterate that it is not about keeping face masks. It is not about keeping sanitizers there. It is not about wearing gloves. That is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of compliance and protective measures that we need to take place for, or have in place for COVID-19 regulations and just basic health and safety. When you read the regulation, it links to the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So what I'm trying to get at here, and it's what Tanya and them are going to discuss furthermore. In joining with SAAHSP, and when SAAHSP approached us, we said it's not just a system. Buying a system, you can buy it anywhere from any pit pompous in the street. You can buy a risk assessment from anyone in the street. The question is, if department walks in there, a department official, and they're asked to show your risk assessment, and your risk assessment has got flaws in it, where's the backup? Where are you going to get help from? Where is the beauty industry's big brother and big sister? This is where we're coming in, and this is what I said. What we can do jointly, collectively, because you need to open up in the industry and you need to start generating money. We can be your big brother and your big sister. So you're not alone out there. Because currently what has happened, there's been the scare with COVID-19. And the picture I paint probably makes you very scared not to want to open up. But you need to earn a living. And know that you can earn that living having a big brother and a big sister helping you and watching over you and guiding you and assisting you where you need assistance. And that is where we're going to jointly join forces with SAAHSP to help open up the beauty salons and help industry open up collectively. So you know then at any one time you can confidently open your doors. You can attend to your clients confidently. You can confidently greet any official that comes to visit your store to check for your compliance, because you have a big brother and a big sister in the corner. And that is what you're going to be getting from us. What will be on offer is not just policies, procedures, and training. It's the lifeline, the helpline that you will get. If you need assistance, it's at the drop of a phone call, you can get that consulting, you can get that help to say, I'm in this situation, what can I do? How can I overcome the situation? One of the key requirements in the new regulation, and this is very, very important, is that when you open up, if any of your employees contract COVID-19 during the time of his employee, you need to redo that risk assessment. You need to do the contact tracing. You need to report to the WCL and COID, not on your normal WCL2 form, but there's about 4 or 5 forms that you need to comply with and you need to submit. And that is what Big Brother and Big Sister will help you with. Knowing how to complete it, put it in. So then at the end of the day, who pays that employee once it's off? It's not you. It is TERS. TERS is a COID portal that's going to be paying for COVID-related injuries, because now it's an occupationally contracted disease. It will only pay if you have your systems and your processes in place. If you have not had your systems and processes in place, COID is not going to pay, you're liable. Okay, folks, I've said very much in very few words. I'm going to hand over to Tanya and Ansa for further information. Okay, Tanya, do you want to take it on from there?
Ansa, can you hear us? Ansa can't hear. She just sent me a message now. So she'll try to get her sound up and running. So I'll just, in summary, it's a lot of information, Shahid, that you've given us, a lot. Like we've said, COVID is here for now, and it is the most necessary thing that we focus on. But the laws, legislation, regulations is what is actually going to keep our business together, compliant, and what will keep us regulated according to what government is requiring. So can you hear us? Can you unmute her, Phil, from your side? No? Okay.
I think it's on Ansa's side.
Shame, she's stressing she can't. Okay, so let me try and fill in. Let me try and fill in her gaps. Ansa, if you can hear when you're up and running, then just stop me and you can carry on. So the program itself, as we mentioned, is a computer-based program. It's user-friendly. We are currently piloting it in 2 places, right from start to finish. The actual program, the wow factor is what it offers, besides the continuation and the, are you there, Ansa?
Sorry guys, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
You'll have to show me a thumbs up because I can't hear anything. Okay, I can't hear you. I don't know, my sound is off, but I will go ahead and talk.
Okay, go ahead.
So thank you, Shahid. I missed the last part of what you were saying, but I do want to talk today and just, I want to tell you that the reality is that we must face and accept the risks that are involved in related to our businesses. And I think for us as beauty therapists and beauty owners of salons and spas, it's a very difficult thing to do, as this is not our field of expertise. If you give me a client to handle, I can do that with my hands and without worrying a little bit. But this is a territory that we don't know and we're not used to. So it's really a difficult thing for us to change our mindset about this. So as it might have an effect on people and also on health and environment, and this is something that we don't always realize. How often do we pour something down the drain, a liquid that's very strong or hazardous, and we don't think about that. This is our responsibility to ensure that we put our utmost effort to manage and to mitigate these risks and to comply to related regulations and legislations. And if this is not managed, these risks might lead to tremendous losses in our businesses. And in an effort from our side to assist, we as SAAHSP have acquired a unique tool, and therefore we developed the compliance program. So this will be your vehicle to manage your risks effortlessly and effectively. By just doing the risk assessment, like Tanya said earlier as well, with the standard operating procedures that we as SAAHSP have implemented already, those are only a generic document. It is something that you can change. And after doing a risk assessment in your business, you will be able to adapt your certain policies and procedures to that specific risk that is in your clinic or salon or spa even. Or I see somebody has asked about mobile salons as well. Of course, we can change that. We can help you adapt as well. And if you have any of those adaptations that you want us to make or changes, you're more than welcome to contact us, and we as SAAHSP will assist you to make those changes for you. So what we've done as SAAHSP is we know that our industry is currently in tremendous distress. And we have thought of the best possible way to assist with a financial plan to acquire the system. So I do see that a lot of people are asking, what is the cost involved for a system like this? so that we've tried to keep the costs at a minimal, and we have managed to get it at a low cost of 225 Rand per month, with a registration fee of 200 Rand. We have also implemented a system where we are able to only take the first debit order by the end of July. So if we are allowed to open earlier, you will have a little bit of time to build up that amount for your debit order or your payment to us. We also have an option of a once-off payment, which is your yearly fee or your annual fee, which is 2,490 Rand per year. So that is completely up to you how you would want us to deduct this. Please remember that this includes 3 required health and safety training courses to the value of 5,000 Rand. These 3 courses are called legal liability. It is a risk assessment course, and also it's a health and safety in the office course. You will get certified for this as well. So you do get certificates that will show that you've done the course as well. And it's an easy online course. I won't say easy for us. This is a big change, but it is a course that is easily accessible for everyone. The investment that you are making into your salon are well worth over 30,000 Rand. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shahid. It might even be more than that. Okay. For long-term investment, this will put your mind at ease and your salon on the ready. So I want to ask you today, and the choice is up to you. It's your choice. Are you ready to open? And most importantly, are you ready to face the magnifying glass that will be on our industry from government? Okay. These are very important questions. And if you can honestly say yes to that, I applaud you, and I have such respect for you, because I don't think I have. So please, if there's any questions, I'm sure there's a lot. I can see that everybody's writing. We have an email as well, which you can email us on for more info. It is compliance@saahsp.co.za. We will make that available for you as well later. And we do have a hotline number as well that you can call. Thank you again for everyone. If there's any input, Tanya, Shahid, from your side.
I just want to answer a couple of questions. First of all, in terms of the value, Ansa, you asked about the value that you're getting. It's well over more than 30,000. You are correct in that, right? But there's a couple of questions that have popped up here. And one of the questions that has flagged me, and I think we need to understand this, is I'm a one-man salon owner or one lady salon owner. I only have a cleaning lady. Am I an employee? Is this applicable to me? I'm a sole trader. Okay, folks, to answer that question, I'm not going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you what the legislation says, right? And I'm going to take a snapshot of the legislation. I'm going to share it with you, Ansa. Okay, and if you can just put it onto the screen so everyone can read, or it's freely available. I'll even tell you where to get it. First of all, Occupational Health and Safety Act 85 of 1993. An employer, the definition of an employer as per the legislation, not Shahid's definition, legislative definitions. An employer means, subject to the provisions of subsection 2, any person who employs, provides work for any person and remunerates that person, or expressly or tacitly undertakes to remunerate him, but excludes a labor broker as defined in section 1 of the Labor Relations Act. That's an employer. So to answer the lady, with us at having a cleaning lady, our one-person salon, the fact that you're paying the cleaning lady, you're an employer. All right. So the sole traders, even if you have your cleaning lady again coming in, you are an employer. Now take the salons that operate from home. You have a maid at home that does your cleaning, correct? And your cleaning lady would come and clean inside your salon, correct? The fact that she's doing the cleaning lady inside your salon, or she comes and cleans inside your salon, she's employed for that purpose of work. You must remember your servant that comes in and cleans inside your salon, it's a working place. That's fine. Oh, there's Mumtaz Manju that says She does her own cleaning. That's fine. Perfect. Not a problem. I'm glad for you, Mumtaz. Well done. You do your own cleaning. You take responsibility. The other point is from a claims point of view now. So you are servicing people and you're servicing industry, right? If you are servicing someone and they contract COVID from your salon, where do you think that claim is going to come from? Who's going to pay for that person? What's going to happen to you as a sole person if you are linked to the contact tracing of the person that was just tested COVID positive in your salon and you had no protective measures in place? So from a quality perspective, from a duty of care perspective, it's advisable to make sure that, yes, we do put these processes in place to protect not only you, but to protect your clients as well. Because you got to think about the beauty industry. You work in a market that is very much, how can I put it to you, word of mouth driven. And your clientele is gold to you. But people talk, right? We live in an industry that talks. So if you linked to a client that has tested positive and it comes out that he picked it up in your salon, what's going to happen to your business if you haven't had the necessary protective measures in place? So to answer that question of, I don't have a cleaning lady, I'm one person, I do it myself. I'm not putting a scare, folks. I'm telling you the truth. It is better to do it yourself. And training in PP is sufficient? No. Come and tell you what has happened, right? Yesterday, I've had the pleasure of auditing the multinational retail organization, right? And when I was there auditing them yesterday, doing COVID compliance auditing, they had 8 cases yesterday of employees that came up positive or tested positive. 8 cases, all right? And they had to go through the full rigmarole. All employees had PP. They all had PP. They all wore PP. Shields, face masks, gloves, you name it. But folks, the law states and Occupational Health and Safety Act states and tells you PP is the last resort. You start from your risk assessment. You got to put in your control measures and your protocols. You got to put in your hygiene programs and you got to do training. PPE is the last resort. At the end of the day, I always state this and I tell all my clients this, PPE doesn't stop you from getting ANA. You're still going to get ANA. It's only going to reduce the amount of ANA you're going to feel. Right? So there is an employer in terms of the Health and Safety Act. In terms of the COVID regulation, it's applicable to every single person linked to the Health and Safety Act, linked to COVID. We need to bear that in mind, folks, please. I know it sounds scary. It is not. It is not scary. You got to take it in its stride. We got to take it in reality. And this has affected the entire world. And the entire world is basically changing. And if we do not change now and adapt legislative requirements and adapt change to improve our workplaces, we're not going to be sustainable for the next 5 years. That I can promise you. COVID is here to stay for the next 2 years longer. And there was a question earlier on about, I live with my mom or someone and I've got immunocompromised persons. Part of the pack which we have developed, and a risk assessment that I did myself with an OMP, an occupational medical practitioner, which you would be getting in the pack, is you'll get a immunocompromised risk assessment helping you to identify controls in terms of managing your high-risk patients or high-risk categories of persons. That's part of the pack. So you're not just getting one risk assessment. Again, like I said, you can go to Pick Pompies down the street and they're going to sell you something, folks. But you're going to end up paying for something that's not worth the paper it's written on. I'm not making you scared. I've seen it. I've seen it in industry. We have seen it. And this is where I call about racketeering and shirking in this industry. There is volumes of people that's selling everything. And I've seen it. You can go and get it, no problem. For 1,000 and 3,000 and you're going to get, they'll sell you packs. But it's generic packs. And the problem with those packs is that's all you get. You just get a paper. but you don't get the help and you don't get the support afterwards. And I'm very, very honest and straightforward with this. Myself and the doctor that have done the risk assessments, we don't attach our names to something that we have not reviewed or done. So with that said, I'm not doing a sales pitch. I'm speaking very, very frankly, because I spoke and I told this multinational as well, if you want me to help you, not a problem, but take the guidance and I'm involved with the processes, then I help. But further than that, if you do things on your own, please go for it. It's not a sales pitch, Matt. Trust me, it's not a sales pitch. It's the truth. A health inspector is a designated person that will come and review your risk assessment and is not the person that approves a risk assessment. A health inspector is your inspecting authority from the Department of Health. The persons that sign up for risk assessments is an occupational medical practitioner and an authorized inspection authority, or AIA. Those are the two bodies that sign off risk assessments. Okay, over to you, Ansa, Tanya.
So because the focus is on COVID, I can see some of the questions popping up, and Phil, we can go through them one by one if Shahid hasn't answered a few already. Ansa and I are business owners and have spas and salons as well. So the pain you feel, we feel as well. And I think the pricing, it's not a sales pitch, Matt, at all. If anyone should know, you should know, it is law, the things that we are talking about. And it's not about just getting us through COVID. I was speaking to a colleague earlier today. I think she's on the webinar, and she worked in the UK for very, very long. Phil, you from the UK. And we're talking about an industry there that's extremely regulated. She said, even if you get a paper cut, what do you do? How do you report it? If something goes wrong and someone slips, hits their head, if an employee falls and breaks their ankle, whatever the case may be, past COVID, this business management toolkit is what helps your business become sustainable with law, with legislation, with government. And yes, it's all at the tip of our tongues because that's all we've been talking about for the last 3 months. A year ago, we probably wouldn't have given a hoot. But now at the forefront, the magnifying glass is on us. And for what it's worth, all the push and pull from all the sides for industry to listen to us, they are going to open up sooner than what they wanted to originally. It's all eyes on us. We don't want to police our industry. We're not the policemen in the industry. SAAHSP are not those people. We want to come up with a solution that will guide our industry, formal or informal, mobile, sole proprietors, PTYs, CCs, whatever the company is. We want to guide you to get to a point of sustainable business management. And it's not about talking you through it, it's empowering you in business to become a better business person. And if the industry, if all of the industry had something like this, the probability of having more focus on us and funding would have probably been bigger throughout the COVID experience.
Tanya,
so we're in a situation, and I think we all hurt, but it's how do we learn from it and how do we pull the system through that can work for us in the future, because there could be another pandemic 10 years down the line. There could be another incident. How do we make this work for us? We are not the policeman. We want to guide you. We want to provide you with solutions. We want to also tell you that we have opened it up to the hair industry. Okay. For the simple reason we're seen as one. Why is it fair that if a program like this exists at a really affordable rate that can change your business compliance, that only beauty has it and not hair? We're seen as one industry, formal, informal, hair, beauty. So we've opened it up, and you don't have to be a SAAHSP member. This is just something for you and your business. So I hope we have covered a lot. I've learned a lot in the research with ANSA on how this program can work for my business. And I think, you know, I kind of know my business pretty well. They asked me that question. Do I have 2,490 Rand up front right now to sign up for the year? I've just spent a lot of money on PPE and in prep because we know more or less what protocols are going to say. So my answer was no. Hence why I've signed up for the monthly, because it is an affordable option. And you need to close some taps and open some others. And I saw someone saying there's no money. There is no money. But we can't offer teas and coffees and juices because it's point of cross infection. So take some of that for a while and invest it in your business that is going to help it be sustainable. I'm going to hand over answer. I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to add. Phil, do you want to work through some questions that Shahid hasn't answered?
I think they might not just be for Shahid, but just for us in general, some of these questions.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I wanted to comment on was, I saw one earlier where people were talking about maybe township salons, etc., that don't comply in any way, shape or form. Therefore, why should any other salon? But, you know, that's their choice. And at the end of the day, if they get caught, then consequences can be quite extreme. So that's the one thing. We're getting a lot of people asking about the legislation itself. Where could they perhaps see this legislation, Shahid? I don't know whether you can share a website address or something that where this document is, because people obviously want to check for themselves perhaps at times. And then just briefly in a sort of bullet point thing, what the app does. So my understanding is that it will set out what salons need to do to comply with all the legislation and guide people through that. And presumably there's some sort of report that's created or something and an assessment of whether they do comply or not. Is that correct, Shahid?
Okay, what happened is the tool itself has a lot of management tools in it. Okay, so if you comply, you get dashboards, and the dashboards is your reporting tools. It will show you your compliance levels, right? That's the basic setup, right? But those compliance levels that will be available to SAAHSP, and SAAHSP can then say, okay, this salon will get this or this salon will get that, because it's basically centralized and central managed through SAAHSP, right? In terms of the website, it's labour.gov.za. I've just put the chat on for everyone to see there. And when you go, that takes you directly through to the Department of Labour, and you go onto the resource portal there, and you can download all the regulations and acts, and you can see for yourself from there. The OSH Act is there, and the new draft or the promulgated COVID regulations is there. Okay. Just something else to state, I want to bring into the picture here, is take note of what happened with the food industry. When COVID-19 just hit and they shut down all of the food industries, and there was a lot of focus on the selling of food or whatever the case may be, right? We had the Minister of Security, Fazile, walking around with the police and visiting the food stores blindly, and because the focus was on food, how many food stores were caught and food owners were caught and arrested and charged and shut down? Take that, what has happened. I'm not saying it's going to necessarily happen in the beauty industry, but you have pushed to open up industry. And as Tanya said, you have put focus on yourself. What do you think the security officials are going to do? They do have carte blanche to a certain degree under the Disaster Management Act to walk in and ask you for your compliance levels. And if you do not comply, they will have a right to close you down. I have seen it happen to the FMCG industry that we're assisting. Police officers walked in, and folks, I'm going to tell you now, I've had police officers and labor officials walk in, and they try to light sanitizers to see if it's compliant. I promise you, that's what is happening. And if you don't have your necessary compliances in place, you're already on the back end. But taking on the program and making sure you comply, you have the ace in the pocket. And that's your ammunition that you have against them. Further to that, you have the big brother and big sister that will help you to deal with them and manage with them. There was regulations promulgated to the police force. giving them guidance on how to approach people and what to ask when people. So you have rights as well, and that is where the support comes in. We give you the guidance in the rights, and I'll tell you, you have those rights. I'm not joking, it's the truth, Mandy. It's the absolute truth. I promise you. Living the pains of COVID-19.
I think in our discussions, one of the directors mentioned, yes, this is a computer program, but if someone walked in, you need to have your risk assessment file at your reception desk. Now, I've had visits before COVID, Labour, Health Department, all of that, and my paperwork, this is on a personal issue, my paperwork was in order. This is like having all of that in this computer program. And if you're not an active business owner, when I say active, you're not on your premises and maybe you've got a few establishments, you are able to access each establishment's risk assessment file from where you are remotely, and understanding whatever you've implemented in your business, has your manager actually done that? Now, the courses that they're offering enables a business owner and or a manager to be empowered with the knowledge of how to do a proper risk assessment for your establishment, because every establishment is different. How to understand health and safety and how to understand the legal compliance. You have to do those courses first, and they're about a half a day to a day. And then suddenly the program jumps out at you at the value that it's offering and how you implement it and activate it for your business. So it's not, Matt, I saw your post, it sounds like a selling tool. No, it's not a selling tool at all. It's something to empower businesses and to take us to the next level. So I think from all of us, if there's any more questions, I just see now, Melissa, the DA website has just loaded a link for everyone interested in regarding protocols. So maybe before any announcements, you know, everyone can go have a look at that. Shahid, there's a question here. Phil, can I read the questions?
Yeah, of course.
If you pay workers' compensation, does this cover it?
Workman's compensation only pays for you to say that you get your letter of compliance from workman's compensation, but before workman's compensation pays the employees, right, for injuries, the necessary reporting and investigations needs to happen. So workman's comp only pays that. It doesn't cover this in the aspect of, I'm trying to understand the question itself, but workman's comp only pays workman's comp. That's what you need to pay. Every employee needs to pay it. And
Okay.
that's the insurance where COID would pay the employee if the employee got injured, if you have the necessary compliances in place on your side. If you don't have those compliances in place, workman's comp is not necessarily going to pay.
Okay. Here's an interesting question, and I do recall hearing it. May I ask, did the president say only registered companies will be allowed to reopen under strict regulations? I didn't watch it over, but I don't know if anyone on the panel recalls exactly his wording.
He didn't go into any specifics.
Okay.
And certainly I know that from UHCB's efforts, they were just acting for the industry as a whole. And I think the government is very keen probably that any informal business or formal business will open, because it's all about the economy now. So I doubt if it's restricted to that. I saw one question that, you know, about this is all new to us. Obviously, it's not new. It's just new to the industry that we're more aware of it. But yes, I mean, we've done our health and safety assessment at the office now, and it's not the same as a salon, but it's still quite involved. But you have to do it, unfortunately.
Sorry, Phil, Tanya, there was a question about workman's comp, and I think it's about confusion, right? Folks, workman's comp pays strictly for workman's comp. If you're under COVID-19, there's a separate code and separate reporting process that you need to follow, where workman's comp will pay for COVID-19 related contracted disease, okay? And that's a specific code that you get, and you need to fill in the specific forms, including the WCL1 and WCL 110 and WCL2, right? And that is all related to the contact tracing information, and you use a specific code for that. If you do not use that code, Workman's Comp is not going to pay for COVID-19.
Thank you. There's another question. Anonymous, what about the salons that operate from the streets? The government turns a blind eye. We are not treated the same. So, you know, we can talk about compliance, and we can talk about COVID compliance. We can talk about health and safety. There's a lot that we can apply, and it's a work in progress. I think eventually salons and barbers on the street will have to form some sort of compliance, especially now, because it's not just, there will definitely be eyes on the formal sector, but there will definitely be eyes on them as well. And that's a longer process. Yeah. It's, but it needs to be made available to them. If they want the program, and if they want an educational SOP guide in the industry, SAAHSP is more than will gladly go and sit with them and start with one, because I think it only just takes one to start with. But yes, we're all aware that that's the monster in the cupboard that is coming out, and it needs to be dealt with, and in time I think it will be. But for the formal, for us, for the preaching to the converted, for all the webinars, hearing and researching all of this, even after all the webinars, I understood the value of having a sustainable business through this program.
The query that I keep seeing coming up is on the question of liability and what this product does in helping salons with liability, because obviously it's not, as my understanding anyway, that it's not something that protects people from blame, or how can I put it, that there's no blame involved with, if somebody comes into a salon and they then contract COVID-19 after that, as long as somebody's got all the health and safety protocols in place, and the my brain's gone blank.
I think Phil,
let me help you, Phil. Okay, in terms of having the processes in place, okay, what would happen is, if you get someone that comes to your salon and they contract COVID-19, and you part of that contact tracing in terms of when they report into NICD and your name comes up there on the contact tracing, when they come to your salon, right, they're going to ask you for the necessary protocols and the necessary procedures, and they're going to test the compliance. And if you have all of the compliances in place and the processes in place, then you are naturally cleared. Okay, what it would do, and this is something that you need to understand, and you need to understand COVID-19 and the transmission from this point of view. It is not going to make you immune from the fact that you still need to put monitoring in place. What is going to happen is, if someone had contacted COVID-19, even though they didn't get it in your salon, but the fact that they had contacted you, if the authorities come in and they visit you or whatever, and they say this person picked up COVID-19, all it's going to mean is now you need to lift the level of awareness in your salon. You might have to do they might request you to do a decon, okay, which means decontaminate your area as an extra precautionary. What this process and having all the documents in place is, it's going to protect you from being shut down. That's the most important thing. You're going to be protected from being shut down or forced shutdown. Okay, and you can still operate at a higher level of security or protective measures which you would need to put in place, just temporarily, because that is what happened with the retailer. And if the process to follow, guys, and I'm not joking, okay, if an employee or any person contracts COVID-19 on your premises, let me give you the relation of what I'm working with, the industry that I'm working in currently. The minute the employees picked up COVID-19, they had to do a shutdown on the place. They had to do contact tracing. They had to do classification in terms of low risk or high risk. Then they had to decon the whole place and then bring the people back into work in a process. And that is where we'll give you that assistance and guidance. Obviously, we're not going to do it for you, but we're going to guide you and help you. So then you can keep your business going. And the most important thing is you need to understand this. And I know the fear, I know the salon's fear. We don't have a lot of money. We don't have this. Guys, the approach to life is simple. And I always say this here, we do it reasonably practicable. We're not going to spend unnecessary amounts of money out of fear. And that is where we come in. And if you feel uncertain about something and you feel you see this nice program or something, or you want to do this beautiful thing in your salon, you know, just to protect your measures, you got the lifeline to ask for help. Rather than spending that money, take the 5 minutes, ask for help, get the help, and you might end up saving that money and getting an alternative which is much more cost effective. I'm going to bring you to one thing which needs to be brought into light. The current focus is on 70% alcohol, right? Based alcohol sanitizers. Folks, you're going to start buying 70% based alcohol sanitizers and then stocking up in your salons and everything because you want to comply with COVID regulations. You need to understand that COVID regulations is not the only regulations that is applicable to industry. You need to understand municipal bylaws, right? And every municipality has got a specific bylaw. Now, 70% based alcohol sanitizers become class 3 flammables. And it being a class 3 flammable, the municipal bylaws give you specific limits in terms of the maximum quantity you're allowed to store on site. The minute you go beyond that quantity, you're going to need to have a permit to store such volumes of class 3 flammables. And that's where your risk assessments come into place. Do you have the storage? Do you have the necessary safeguard procedures in terms of fire prevention mechanisms, fire protection mechanisms to store class 3 flammables? And a class 3 flammable, folks, is not only a sanitizer. You got to go through all of your cosmetics and look at what is the flammability or the hazardous classification on your products. And that is how they term it when they look at the store in terms of looking at how much of class 3 flammables you're allowed to store. It's everything. It's not just a sanitizer. So you need to bear that in mind. And this is where the help comes in. I'm using this as an example to say this is the type of assistance you would get. I've done it for my clients. We do it freely. We do it openly. But we do it to guys, and we do it because we care.
Shahid, how do you work that out? Is it per quota of your square meter on how much content of flammable goods you can have? Is it bulk storage? How do you work that out?
Okay, each municipality writes its bylaw differently. So we need to read it in terms of the bylaw, and they take the total volume of the liquid. So you can have 520 ml bottles, or you can have 5 liters, but it's the total volume. And it's not the volume stored separately, but it's stored in store one time, right? And this is, guys, I've seen this happen. The guys that manage and drive the municipal bylaws is your JMPDs, your national traffic authorities, okay? But if the problem happens in a salon, the guys that give you the bill is your national fire departments. And it happened. I've seen it happen to blue chip industry. They did not comply with the bylaw. When they called the fire department out because of an emergency, the fire department whacked them with a bill of 250K. Immediate for response. And to answer the question, Phil, having all of these programs in place and processes in place, what will happen is we're just going to give you the guidance and bring out the red flags for you so you can manage your red flags and prevent these unnecessary bills that come out.
Thank you. We have another question, a lot of repetitive questions, so I hope we've answered many questions with one answer. Can we talk about the actual certificates on the legal compliance? I did see a question pop up now I can't find it, with regards to what are the courses that are being offered. I don't know if we can brief more on what we have already. I know we've mentioned them a few times.
Okay, look, whoever does the course is going to get a certificate, right? That certificate states that you've been through legal liability course, right? That's a legal liability course will take you through understanding legislation, understanding your liability. Okay, it will drive and direct you towards understanding compliance levels and understanding the OSH Act. Okay, so you will get a certificate for that to say you've been for the course. That will help you. If anyone questions, listen, do you understand your legislative requirements? You can show them you've been for the necessary training.
Okay.
Okay.
Well.
Yeah, I keep seeing questions about where can we sign up for that. So if you or Tanya could maybe type in the email address again into the chat area. I keep getting questions about the bullet form of what the benefits are to the app. But basically, my understanding is that it gives you the tools to make sure you are compliant in every way, and obviously any backup where there are grey areas or not. If that's right, great. There we go. So is there a website as well that people can look at something? I know we have a video at the end of this with some information on it as well. Where else can people go for information besides just sending an email?
All right, there's a question here about who endorses the app. It's authorities. Folks, you need to understand the authorities don't need to endorse any app. It is an electronic management system, all right? It is hosted system, and all the information is hosted on a server that is compliant with the POPI regulations. What the authorities are going to endorse is your compliance levels. All right. The documents you're going to get are documents guided by the legislative requirements. And if you want to see those documents or what you need, go and read the regulation, please. All right. This is not an app. And I want to state this, and I want to put this mindset clear, folks. You are actually investing yourself in a business management system to manage your business properly going forward, not just about COVID, but managing your business to be sustainable for the foreseeable future. And that endorsement must come from yourself more than anyone else. If you believe you want to be in business for the next 5 years and 10 years, what investment are you willing to put in your business now to be sustainable for that? That question, no authority can answer but you yourself.
Cool. Just a couple of other things I wanted to clear up. This isn't a listing in any way of the protocols that people will have to instigate when they open. The protocols are separate from that. I just wanted to underline that again. I've seen a couple of times one other query regarding protocols about towels, etc., and linen. Personally, my understanding is you don't have to throw away towels, etc., after use. I know that there are towels available now that you can just use the once, but don't forget the environment. So my understanding is washing in hot water in a hot wash in the washing machine is as good as anything for towels. I hope I'm right there. Maybe one of you ladies can. Yeah.
Can I come in there? What we need to understand, and this is where the salons work right now, folks, you have towels, and I know you have towels, but if you have a labor inspector walk in there, I promise you, labor inspector is going to go to the towels that you dry there, and they're going to tell you, no, you need to change to paper towels or whatever. That's because a lot of times they might misunderstand the application and the process. So Phil correctly said that the washing in hot water will work. What you need to understand, it's not just the washing in hot water, and this is the same exercise I did with the multinational with the fabric face mask. We had to issue an instruction on how to take care of the fabric face mask. It is washing, and then it is also sanitizing of that towel with your normal detergents that you have, right? Now you get your anti-bac washing powder. Then after it, you're going to have to soak the towel in a little bit of bleach. Now, bleach is the safest thing, folks, not jig. Do not use jig. Jigs are going to destroy your towels. Okay, you can buy the household domestics. Domestics is the safest thing to use. All right, you just soak it a bit in hot water and then you leave it out to, or you're gonna dry it normal like how you do normal washing. The thing is, the washing machine needs to be sanitized after that. And that is where the trick comes in. So you're gonna wash your towels in that washing machine. After that, you're gonna have to do a decon on that washing machine. Bear that in mind, all right? And very important, you're in a beauty salon. The common practice beauty salons was to share hand drying towels. It's going to be a strict no-no going forward with COVID-19, eh? It's going to be a strict no-no. If there's going to be hand washing facilities, you're going to need to use disposable paper towels. It's going to be more cost effective and cheaper for you rather than having 20 hand towels for people to use.
If you outsource the service of laundry,
it could work.
Yeah, but surely there must be an available spec and contract that can be signed that they are washing laundry as per COVID regulations and requirements. If you're not responsible for your own washing and you're outsourcing and paying other people to do it.
Tanya, it could work, right? We need to understand that. And again, we need to understand that legislation can change very easily, right? If you're going to contract it out, which is fine, you can do that. You then need to have, and we need to build into the process, contractor management processes and policies where we make sure, all right, that the laundry company that's doing it, all right, they have protocols and processes in place. And that's a simple check we can do. It's supplier management. But that we need to make sure we tie into contract, because saying that and this is where the law works, folks. Okay, you need to understand, if you go to a court of law, the reasonable man test, saying that I've given it to a contractor to do is fine. The question is, did you manage a contractor?
Okay.
So the onus is still on you under duty of care.
Okay. Mena, so you're saying that every client should bring their own towel? No.
You guys know your industry. I can't answer that question for you, really. I would say go for the reasonable approach. Look at the most reasonable, practicable approach.
Okay. We could probably go on for days trying to answer all the questions that people have. My suggestion is that please contact SAAHSP on the email address that we put in there, and hopefully we can get the industry open quick, and we'll know what we're doing with protocols, etc. So,
there's a question from Melissa Ramia. Yes, sorry, about the hand washing of the towels, folks. Your hand washing, and we need to understand that they talk of hand washing as removing the virus from the hands. I just want to put into perspective here. When you wash your hands, and I'm going to display, you got a mechanical movement. Now your hands don't hold anything because it's smooth. All right, our skin is smooth. So when you wash with the 20-second rule, you're mechanically removing the virus. Now take your cloth and take clothing. It's got fibers inside. The virus is not sitting on the top. It goes into the fiber. So mechanically washing can remove quite a bit, but what about inside? And the soaking with the jig and that is to allow it, or the bleach, not jig, sorry. Bleach is to allow whatever's inside to be destroyed. And the virus, remember, that virus is everywhere. You're not going to see it. And in your clothing, it's going to get into the fibers of your clothing. Does that clear the confusion, folks?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. I can see there's lots of people saying, you know, it's all very scary, etc. It can be, but if you follow the rules and the protocols, then it should be fine. And if in doubt,
we will release an advert with bullet points as requested, with the pricing, with the email address. So we'll release a simple, informative ad this afternoon. It will go out on social media, and obviously if you email us, we'll respond with that first. But I just want to say thank you to Phil before we close and play our video. I want to wish everyone good luck for opening, and it's a work in progress. You might not be able to get all 3 courses done and sign up by day 1, but the fact that you've started in assisting your business become sustainable by using this program, it's a fantastic start. And we're here to help you and hold your hands through it. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but I just want to wish everyone good luck. You all know what you need to do when it comes to your field of expertise. This is business and law and legislation, and it's new to a lot of us. So we just got to help each other through it and ask questions if you don't know, and we're just here to support you. So thank you to Phil and the team. Natasha, still got to play the video. So thank you for assisting us. And maybe we'll have another webinar if we go into more detail and get a lot of questions that we feel we haven't answered. We could possibly host another to cover more questions. So thank you very, very much, Phil. Appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you all for attending. And we will, as soon as we hear anything positive about protocols, we'll let everybody know as well. Natasha, over to you. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you all.